Hello everyone! I successfully completed my first trip on a GLP-1. My GLP-1 that I am on is a compounded Tirzepatide, which is also known as Mounjaro. I think I psyched myself out for this trip a little bit. I was really worried about the foods that I would eat, and I was really worried about getting exercise, getting movement. So in this video, I'm going to give a breakdown of how my trip went and kind of the effects that it has had on me. So to start off with, I weighed myself on Sunday morning. I did not weigh Monday morning when we left. There was too much to do, and we were late leaving anyway, so I did not take the time to weigh myself. So I did weigh in Sunday morning, and I was weighing in at 251.9 pounds. That's really exciting to me because that means that I hit a 50-pound weight loss. Did I lose weight on my trip? No, I did not. Did I maintain my weight on my trip? No, I did not. Did I gain weight on my trip? Yes, I did. And I'm going to give a breakdown of kind of the foods that I ate, the choices that I made, everything that kind of went on, any kind of exercise that I did on the trip. So stay tuned if that's something that you are interested in hearing about. The night before we left on our trip, I took my injection, and I had decided to dose down before the trip. So that's what I did, and I dosed at 3.75 milligrams, and I'm typically at a 5 milligram dose. I think this was a wise choice for me to dose down a little bit because I feel like for me, the kind of side effects that I tend towards are more of like a constipation, not very fun, but I just have a hard time making bowel movements, and that was not something that I wanted to have on a trip, not at home, not in my own bathroom, and so I decided to dose down so I wouldn't have any side effects on my trip. I also had really intended to video things that we were doing, maybe like video like the foods that I was eating, and I did really bad. So I'll just add a picture of one meal that I had. It was the hotel breakfast, and then one picture of this drink that I would have every day. So to start off with, Monday morning. Trips are really difficult for me. I always tend towards comfort, convenience. So started off real strong and got some Carl's Jr. for breakfast. But honestly, that held me up for most of the day. There was a point where I was driving, my husband was asleep in the passenger seat, and I was just getting kind of sleepy, and so I had to wake him up and say, I need something. And we had taken our loaf of bread with us that we needed to finish off. And so I was just, I'm a bread person. I'm a bread person. But I just would eat the bread, and I think I had like 3 slices of it. I didn't go totally hardcore like I really could because I love bread, but I tried to keep it a little moderate, and they weren't all at one time. It was kind of spread out. But I did have like some jerky, some Baby Bell cheese, apples, the Belvita breakfast crackers, some granola bars. We took some Chobani yogurt flips with us. I love the almond cocoa loco. Those are my favorite ones. And then a surprising snack that I've actually had it in my fridge for a while. Probably pretty preserved, but it's just these little circular ham slices. And I really enjoyed eating those on my trip. If I was feeling some of that hunger, just like midday, we didn't have like a lunch that we could eat or anything, but we were able to take our snacks with us just wherever we were going. And those ham slices, they came in clutch because I really enjoy those, and I feel like they filled me up quite a bit and really staved off a lot of that hunger and those cravings that I typically get. And yay, the hotel did have hot breakfast, so that was really, really great. I actually never went down to the lobby for breakfast. My husband would go down and he would just bring a plate back up so that I could take my time getting ready. We really tried to stay away from most of those carbs. They did have some scrambled eggs. They were okay. They weren't great, but they were fine. So they had scrambled eggs. They had sausage links. I struggle with sausage, so I did have some, but it wasn't my favorite thing to have. They also had like a cubed breakfast potato, and that was good. It was, I mean, honestly, it was probably my favorite part of the breakfast, but I only had that one time, and it wasn't very much because I just need to stay away from carbs, really. Really, we only had the hotel breakfast 2 times while we were there in that whole week. So I wanted to have it more, but we just had a lot going on and we were tired. The breakfast hours, it was only 2 hours long, so it was a pretty short window of time, and it just didn't always align with the schedule that we had. One thing that I made sure to have every single day that I was there was my protein drink. This protein drink is protein and collagen, and I really enjoyed it on my trip. Like, we've had it sitting in our kitchen for a little while, and I would have one every once in a while, but there's something in the taste that I'm not in love with, but I really enjoyed it for my trip while I couldn't have my actual collagen that I like to drink every day. So this protein and collagen drink, that was really, really great for me to have and very convenient. So we just made sure to take one with us. They're not super big, so I didn't have to just try and space out drinking it. I didn't have to try and drink it all at once. That's difficult for me. And that was very helpful. If I was feeling a little hungry, I could just drink that down first thing. The first time that I felt hunger in the day, just drink that, and that was really nice. One thing that I was worried about on our trip was the foods that we might get fed, and there is good cause for me to be worried about that, because a lot of it is fried foods, fried in like a corn oil or a canola oil, something that I don't want to be putting into my body. I will if the situation kind of calls for it. That sounds bad, but if the situation calls for it and I need to be polite, or if I'm just really hungry, I will have that if that's offered to me and it's available. That being said, we actually only got fed 2 times while we were on our trip from my husband's family, and the first time was Navajo tacos. So it's the fry bread, and then they do like the pinto beans on top. There actually wasn't any meat with it, so it wasn't my kind of a taco. But it was good, and I had lettuce and cheese on it. So it was good. I just had the one, which they're quite big. I mean, it feels like a disposable plate. The fry bread will fill that kind of a plate. So I had one of those, and then I just had topped it with like a scoop or 2 of beans, and then just a handful of lettuce and some cheese. So that's what I ate. So actually the next day they did have some leftover beans. So they do potatoes, like fried potatoes and beans, and they mix them together, and it's good. I enjoy that. I didn't want a whole lot, and when we got there were just the leftovers of it. So my husband and I just split it, and I let my husband have more. And that's something that is new with a GLP-1, is that I let my husband have more food than me. Because beforehand, I would always just make sure, like, no, we have to split it. Like, can we measure? Can we weigh it? Not that bad. But like, I would draw a line down the center of the food. We'd split it and we'd eyeball it. Like, does it look equal? And now I don't care. I don't really care that much. There's probably some things that I care about with that, but most things I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't need that much. I won't be able to eat it. I will let you have what you want to have. When it comes to broccoli, when we do up the broccoli, I do tell my husband, like, if you don't want all of that, you don't have to have all of it. Like, I'll finish eating that. Same thing with asparagus. So kind of weird. Now, here comes ultimate confession time. I had Panda Express one of the nights, and that is a huge weakness of mine. I really love Panda Express, and I found that all of the foods that I was eating there, like, yes, I was trying to be conscious about it. I don't feel like I overdid on my portions, but Panda Express and we go back. We go a long way back. So I had Panda Express, but I found that I wasn't really eating Panda Express for pleasure. I was eating more for not comfort, maybe comfort. I was eating more for comfort, but mostly for familiarity, because it's something that it's not nostalgic, but it's similar to nostalgia. And I was just familiar with it in this kind of uncomfortable territory that I don't exactly like to be in. I don't like going to visit my husband's family. It's kind of an interesting environment. So a lot of stress for me. Nothing is predictable. It's always fly by the seat of your pants. Nobody makes plans, which when you're dealing with a medical situation, I definitely understand. But there's not emergency medical situations all the time, especially on a week-long trip. So it was a little difficult for me because I never knew what the next day would bring, or even what, in the morning, what the afternoon would bring. I just never knew. So having Panda Express, it was really like clutching a lifeline, basically. We were treated out to Mexican food Saturday night, and that was very nice. There was actually a lot of meat in what I ordered. So I had 2 enchiladas, and then it came with rice and like a refried bean. And I ate all of the rice. It wasn't very much, maybe like half a cup of rice. But then I didn't eat all of my beans, and I only ate probably about 1 enchilada. I had a couple of the chips and salsa, and it was really good. I got to take home my leftovers, and I ate them a couple nights later as our dinner. So it was really good, and it was super kind of my sister-in-law to treat us out. We did go watch a movie at the movie theater. So my husband and I shared a popcorn, and then we shared like a bag of M&Ms and a bag of fruit snacks. I told you this was confession time. But, kind of a seize the moment kind of a thing. If this is the kind of thing that you eat and you're okay with, I'm very happy for you. It's not the kind of thing that I can eat and lose weight. And I know that about myself. So I always feel disappointed in myself when I eat stuff like that. But I'm also trying to give myself grace and not get discouraged. After the movie, we went out for pizza, and I ordered a salad. I only ate maybe half of the salad, and I ate 1 slice of pizza. So I didn't do too bad with that. We got to take home the leftover pizza. We got to take to hotel the leftover pizza and ate that a couple of nights because we had leftovers. So we had that for dinner as well. When I dosed on Sunday night before we left on our trip, I knew that I would not be dosing until Monday the following week when we would come back from our trip. I could definitely feel that I was on a lower dose and that I was nearing the end of the life of my GLP-1, and it really only has like a 7-day cycle inside of yourself. I don't know all the terminology, but 7 days is like the prime number of days for you to go with your injection, is what they say, what they have researched. And I could really feel, especially on Monday on our trip coming back, that it was day 8 and I had not injected yet. I could definitely feel that. And it crept in, more like it barged in, because I did not do good on my foods on our trip home. I did have a few of our snacks that we had packed with us, but we got breakfast on our trip down, which it was just a breakfast burrito, and I didn't eat all of it in one go. I ate probably 3/4 of it. And so we ate that kind of first thing in the morning. And then on the rest of the way, I had a slushie from the gas station, which is not typical for me at all. Like even pre GLP-1 me, I don't do slushies. Like I don't do those kinds of things. I don't drink a lot of drinks. Like I mostly just stick with water. And so it was just very, very out of the norm for me to have a slushie. It was good though. It was good, and it kept me awake while my husband was sleeping while I was driving. And we had donuts. They were good. They were the double chocolate hostess, I think. They were good, but I definitely had more of them than my husband did. I really love those. And then you can see a theme happening here. When we got to the town outside of our countryside, we stopped and got dinner because we did not want to have to cook after our long trip home. Plus, we have basically no food in our fridge or our freezer, at least not foods that I will eat. Before we left on our trip, we tried to eat everything that was perishable, and we did really good. So good that our fridge is really practically bare, other than stuff that like won't go bad, like condiments and stuff that won't go bad in any short length of time. So on our trip home, we stopped outside of the last town and we got Panda Express. That was all I wanted. I didn't want anything else. I wanted Panda. I wanted to go home. I wanted to see my cat. I wanted to chill, eat my dinner, go to bed. So that was how my kind of eating habits went on the trip. I really wish that I would have documented more, but it was not that kind of a trip. It was not a trip to go and document. It was a trip to go and get stuff done and spend time with family. Now, if you watched my previous video before I went on my trip, then you're probably wondering what happened to cooking your own food at the hotel. We planned it. We were going to do it. We took everything with us. We took our pan, our lid, our spatula flipper thingy, and we took our hot plate, our single burner hot plate. We took soap. We took a sponge to wash everything up with. Like, we were prepared to do that. And we just didn't do it. We had a lot of leftovers from times that we ate out. We had our snacks. We were fed a couple times. We just didn't feel like it was going to be a good decision to go purchase like some meat or some broccoli and then not eat it. And then it would just probably go bad. So we did not do that. And I'm kind of glad. We were ready to do it, but it didn't work out. A very, very unpredictable trip. Now, for movement, for exercise, the hotel did have a fitness room, and we actually only ended up using it one time, and that was after we went out for our Mexican dinner. We were treated out, and we'd planned to do it a couple times before, and the day it did not go like that, which was fine. The fitness room, it was a big room, but it was kind of a little bare. They had a couple treadmills, they had a couple of ellipticals, and then something that you could like do pull-ups on, but also like you could hang on it and like lift your legs up. I have no idea what those things are called. They had a weight bench and they had weights, and then they had a couple of rather deflated yoga balls, and that was it. That was all they had in that room. So I did do 15 minutes on the treadmill, and I went 0.6 of a mile, which I was fine with. I was just watching videos, and it's a little awkward. There was nobody else in the hotel room, but it was just windows everywhere, and I do not like to work out where people can just watch me. So it was a little awkward, but it was nighttime, so I don't know. Maybe nobody was watching. But on the treadmill, I also did some incline as well, which the treadmill that I have, it's more like a walking pad with the supports that go up, and it's got handles and it's got a screen up, up at normal treadmill height. But the incline that it does, it's just something that you have to set manually, and there's only two. You can go flat or you can go just slightly inclined. And I've always kept it inclined. So it was kind of fun doing this incline on an actual treadmill. And I went up to 5 incline. I don't know what that means, but whatever that means, I went up to 5 and I did that. So it was good to do that. And then I did some weightlifting with the 10-pound weights. I typically use a 6-pound weight, and it's been a while since I've done some weight training. And it was really nice to go and use this fitness room and to use those 10-pound weights, because I really felt it. Like, I felt it while I was doing it. Like, it felt different than using my 6-pound weights. And then even like the next day, it felt different. I didn't overdo it. I was sore, but not to the point where I couldn't do what I needed to do. And so it was interesting. And it really kind of spurred me on to do more weightlifting at home. The hotel did have a pool, but they closed it down permanently, and I was sad. But we had called beforehand to see if they had a pool, and they had told us that no, they had a pool, but it was not going to be working. They closed it permanently. So we were sad, but it was one less thing to pack. We also went for a walk one time while we were there. I don't know if my husband would call it a walk, but I would call it a walk, because we walked from his mom's house down this hill to like where they burn their trash area. And it was probably about a 5-minute walk one direction, and then the other direction was 5 minutes, but it was uphill. At some points kind of a steep incline, but it was sandy, and I was walking right in the sand. And so that was kind of a good little test to see how I can do walking just in like normal environment. I did not do super great, but part of that was because that awful thing happened where you're walking and inside of your tennis shoe, your sock is just slipping off of your heel. And so I had to keep stopping and fixing my sock, because it would be like halfway off my foot. And I can't handle that weird sensation. One thing that we knew for our trip was that we wanted to be as helpful as we could. Now, my husband's mom, she is in stage 4 cancer. They are just trying to make her comfortable now. They are putting her on hospice at home, and she is using a walker most of the time to get around. So to get into her house, they built a ramp, and I think they've had a couple different ramps. And this ramp that they have had for a while now, it was mostly meant to be a temporary ramp, but it's been there like almost the whole time that I have been married to my husband, which is 4 years. So not super temporary, and it was just made out of pallets, which it was a good design, especially working with what they had, what they could afford. So they had these 2 support beams, joists kind of a thing, that went up at the angle and connected to the porch. And then they put 2 pallets on top and screwed it in. So it was a good and kind of a quick way to make a ramp. It has since been destroyed by the weather. It was not weatherproofed at all. No paint, no stain, no kind of top coat or anything. And the pallet boards, right where you needed to step, a lot of them were broken, gaps, and some loose wood. One of my sister-in-laws, she actually hurt her foot and had to get like stitches, because some of that wood went right through her foot. Not very fun. So that was one thing that we decided that we wanted to do, was to build them a new ramp. So I will post a picture of it here. And this was a fun little project. It ended up being more of a family affair, which was really awesome. Some of my husband's brothers and his uncle, they pitched in and they helped out to build this ramp. I was fully intending to help my husband and putting everything in place, and then I didn't know we would have all this help. It was kind of a last minute thing, and it was nice. I could just stand there and watch. I would hand boards, hand tools and stuff, so I got to be the unofficial supervisor. So those were our main concerns on the trip. We're taking care of the trash, building the ramp, and just having time with my mother-in-law, letting my husband have time with his mom. So this was not a pleasure trip. It was a trip to get stuff done, spend time with loved ones, and that was pretty good. So when we got back home on Monday night, I was tired. I just wanted to chill. I just wanted to be home. And I fully intended to take my injection that night. Forgot. I fell asleep on the couch and my husband had to help me to bed. And then I did not dose until Tuesday evening. So I was actually another 2 days late, which I've done that before unintentionally. This time was also unintentional, another 2 days. So it had been 9 days since my last injection. I did go back to my 5 milligram injection, and man, I missed that. I really missed that. I can feel it. I can feel when I am not on the right dose. I can feel the food noise. I can feel the cravings come in. I feel a lot of hunger. A lot of the times on the trip, I would wake up at like 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning, and I would be like, oh, I'm so hungry, like almost like a nauseous hungry. So I am very glad to be back onto my 5 milligram dose. When I weighed myself Tuesday morning, after I got back home from my trip, I was at 257.4 pounds. That's 10 days since I last weighed, from Sunday morning before our trip till Tuesday morning after our trip. 10 days, and I gained 5.5 pounds. Now, a little disclaimer, I did start my period the day before we came back home. If you're not a woman, then you might not be aware, but most women are aware that a woman's period can play a huge part in her weight as she's weighing throughout the week. So it really probably played a part in my weight gain when I was weighing back in after my trip. But I know a lot of it was the foods that I ate. So I'm here a couple days later after my trip, and I am going to tell you in my next video what I am weighing in at today. Have I lost? Have I stayed the same? Have I gained since then? Go check out my next video and you will find out. I just wanted to give a breakdown of my trip, and I know it was just, a week long. It's not going to determine the rest of my health journey. It's not going to determine the rest of my life. And I just wanted to share how my trip went, how it can be on a GLP-1. I hope that I didn't do everything wrong, but I think that I'm doing okay now. So thank you for watching, and thank you for taking this shot at life with me. I will see you next time.
So this is our bed. There's a window right here with these curtains, but there's a mirror right here, and you can see in. So if somebody's standing right there, they can see directly over here to the bed. So this is our little solution. So we have these magnets that we bought.
So we go down this way, and then we just go to the door, and the lock, and then go like so.
A little janky, but it works. So now, if you look at it over here, it's only the tiniest bit that's way up there at the top that nobody can really see in. So, it's our little solution.